Right then, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the update news that we've got since yesterday's big update reveals and the sort of things that are coming into the game. Now, yes, we've got the most recent big update that came in on Tuesday last week as of the recording of this video, obviously, and I'm sure many of you have played it. There are some definite problems that obviously if you looked at the previous video that I've uploaded on this channel, you'll know all about, and then if you want to actually check out what came this week in detail, you can check out the video previous to that on this channel. So yeah, very interesting, all of the stuff that's come in, and I think today's video we are basically going to go through all of the fixes that are coming to the game. There is a brand new tank line that will be coming in as well. We've got things like a new premium tank. We've also got a premium tank earn-op for those of you interested in getting a free premium that we'll cover all in this video, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. So without further ado, what has happened with this most recent update? I know a lot of you were complaining about the whole 26 or 40 gigabyte update that you had to do to the game, considering there was multiple updates all in 1 week, and that's essentially because they're just bringing in loads of new stuff and having to go through back some of the updates and just remove some of the useless things that were previously in the game. So hence why you've been having to spend about half your life this week spent downloading the game, and yeah, hopefully that won't happen for a couple of months now. Hopefully we won't having too much disk space taken up on your console, whatever that is. Yeah, hopefully World of Tanks Modern Armour isn't taking up too much. Now, Wednesday and today, and that was yesterday, so Friday, as of the recording of this video. So Cold War bots list corrected, so essentially they didn't have the bots list correctly done. There was a premium tech tree sale on tanks were corrected, so these are all of the fixes that came in with the game. There was the Great Tank Pursuit 2 challenge is now visible, so if you actually have been playing those daily battles, essentially what happened is that it still counted towards your daily battles, and if you've managed to jump on and play those daily battles, I think it's like you have to get 250 XP 3 times in 1 day each day for like a consecutive amount of days, or not in a row, but as long as you do something like 40 days of those 3 battles, yeah, you essentially get rewarded for milestones throughout those days. Yep, that one's still in the game and it's been corrected, so you should, when you jump onto the game, be able to see it. It was really, really annoying to be able to determine how far away you are from the next challenge. So yeah, at least that's better now. Now, when the game first came in, the hit physics were just ridiculous, as I'm sure you know if you've played this week, and essentially what they've done is just reduced that kind of effect by 45%, so that's what came in the previous update, or the update after that big update. They've also removed the dynamic camera on slopes, bug causing shaking. That was actually really frustrating as well. Definitely noticed that myself. Removed the film grain from maps, so they'll still monitor for feedback on colours, as this was not adjusted, so essentially they're just looking at what the actual colours are going to be doing. I know I generally don't really like them too much, but they haven't changed those, and I guess that they're just waiting for people to rally up together and say, no, these changes are just terrible, just put it back to the normal. I don't know if that will happen. Obviously it depends on you guys and you voicing your opinions in comment sections and on the Wargaming Discord and in the forums and all of those things. They'll basically use that to be able to just guide themselves as to whether they should keep the colours as they are now with those filters or change them back to what they previously were. There was also some changes to the overlapping scroll bar in the premium tech tree. Of course, just can't get anything 100% right. But they're still tracking the number of bugs, and there'll be updates as soon as possible. That will definitely be continuous. There's always loads of bugs with Wargaming Console, at least in those recent years. They didn't usually be too bad back in the day, but certainly now we're looking at a lot more bugs every update, and they take a lot longer to actually fix them. Maybe that's just because the team has maybe shrunk or something. I don't know. I'm not part of Wargaming, so we'll just have to wait and see. Ongoing and still in progress, premium tanks for free XP. Got those Oktoberfest emblem and medal earned through the 3rd of October, which is of course Sunday. And then we've got the full sale emblems, inscriptions, blah 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 for 50% off. We have that World War II skin thing where you can essentially get your World War II skins for the Tiger and the VK, I believe it is. They're also monitoring Mark of Excellence data. So with the 4 Marks of Excellence that came into the game, they'll continue to feedback on this while it continues to be an issue for players. So essentially what I think that this is to do with is, you know, when the Marks of Excellence changes, or the update previous to the Marks of Excellence changes came in, the marks were actually calculated depending on the map that you're playing rather than just the overall statistics of everyone playing regardless of the map. So it was kind of bias towards what map you were playing. So say if you play Himmelsdorf and you're in a light tank, if you do worse, it doesn't affect your Marks of Excellence as bad. So it was kind of associated to the map you play. If you do more damage than the average player on Himmelsdorf in that tank, then you will go up on your marks percentage. So it's kind of tailored towards that. So if you know, come up in a bad streak of maps for the tank that you're playing, but you still do really good comparatively to everyone else in the tank on that map, you won't be negated because you got that bad run of maps, and so you'll actually continue to make progress. So I think that was kind of a really annoying thing that was in the game, and I think that probably could come back. I don't really see any issue with that. I think it's a more intuitive system because essentially it means that the best players are getting their Marks of Excellence on the maps that they should get it. If it was just a flat button, like decrease in the damage that you needed to do, as long as it's associated to the other players on that map, I think that that's where it should really come from, rather than the just giving it a base damage value that you have to get above to be able to go up, or whatever it was previously. They're also monitoring Cold War maps in World War II. And this is basically Wargaming's response to anything that they don't really want to change and that they can kind of keep as the same for as long as possible until they kind of have to develop it and actually solve it. But essentially, I don't think that the Cold War maps will be removed from World War II. So for those of you interested in just trying to avoid the World War or the Cold War maps, then you're probably not going to be able to, which is really, really unfortunate. Me, myself, I'm not a particular fan of the Cold War maps. I think that they are good in some scenarios, but certainly in other areas they can be a little bit tedious with the size of them, and when you compare heavy tanks to light tanks on those maps, they just run circles around them with the light tanks, and it's not very fun for those heavy tank drivers. A lot of them don't have arty-safe positions because, of course, Cold War was designed without artillery, making it very, very difficult for you to actually play arty-safe. And when the artillery is as good as it is right now, at least at the high tiers, you know, T92 being able to one-shot consistently, which I will definitely post a YouTube short about what happened recently, where I got the highest amount of damage in one shot I've ever got in World of Tanks, so keep your eyes peeled for that one if you're interested. But yeah, I think that's always interesting. As far as some extra stuff, the Refer a Tanker program, which is essentially where it's trying to get you and your friends to sign up at the same time. So if you haven't already played with your mates and they don't actually play, if you recruit them to the game in quotation marks, you'll be able to actually get some rewards for playing with them. If they play 100 platoon battles with your recruits, then you'll be able to get a premium tank and some premium account time along with a unique commander. You can also get skins for the TVP, the T-34, and you also get more commanders as well. So I think that's always interesting. It's definitely a benefit to actually playing with your platoon mates. Don't know how exactly it works, but I think you have to go to the recruiter page. Once you do so, you can enter in your code. Then essentially your teammates, or the ones that you're trying to recruit, will then basically use that code, and then it should count from then on in to be able to get these rewards. I don't think that they're allowed to be already playing, but I suppose you'll just have to see. You'll be able to invite friends. So there we go. Looks interesting. Definitely, if you're interested in getting some free rewards, then you might want to do that. As far as coming next week, now this is some fairly big stuff. We've got the new Cold War Premium. Yes, I'm sure many of you are thinking, oh dear, we've got another Cold War Premium. It's probably going to be overpowered. It's the MBT-70, the Western Alliance Detente Heavy Era tank, which is the top tier tank. Or top era, so the maximum one where you'll be coming up against things like the M1A1 Abrams and stuff like that. This comes with 3 skin options, so you'll be able to actually purchase this if you want to, but trust me, when it comes to purchasing it, you're probably going to have to spend 50 quid, or for those of you in America, about $80 or $90 for a premium tank, which I would never ever recommend, considering it's just one tank in one game that costs more than any other new game that you can basically get. Never spend that much, in my opinion anyway. If I had to spend that money, it's just not something I would ever do. I don't see the value in it, but of course you're all down to your own opinions, and leave those in the comment section down below as to what you think about the pricing of some of these new premium tanks that are coming into the game. As far as the next kind of stages, we've got the Sputnik Emblem Urn. We've got October Urn Challenge for the T-54E2. Now, if you haven't already, the T-54E2 is a premium tier 8 heavy tank from the American line, I believe it is. It comes with the choice of either having a single shot autoloader, a single shot, or an autoloader, which has, I believe, 3 shots, 360 damage per shot. It's essentially the better of the American autoloading heavy tanks that are premium, that you'll definitely be able to have some fantastic games in. I'm really looking forward to actually getting my hands on this tank, giving it a go, and playing it, seeing how well I can do. And obviously I'll try and do a review as soon as I get the tank myself, for you to be able to make your own mind up as to whether to grind through it yourself. As far as some other things, we have the Swedish tanks reforged, so that's still going on. There's basically not too much. It's just saying that there's battles have gone up from 2,000 per day up to 6,000, which, is obviously going to happen when you promote them. Win rates have gone up, which is, it's just what happens when a lot of players try the tank out again. A lot of the older players that have had the tank for a long time will then play it, and therefore, they're probably more experienced at the tank, and so they get the higher win rate. That doesn't mean that the tank is particularly overpowered, and I think this tank is actually really, really kind of situational. You either have a good game or a terrible game, because, it's a very situational one. A lot of the time you have to wait for your opponents to kind of come towards you before the tank gets effective, and usually when they're coming towards you, that's because the rest of your team have been taken out. So yes, a little bit tedious to play, I think, but I guess I'll have to go and get it, try it out, and make a full review on the tank to be able to give my kind of full opinion on it. As far as some other things, Abrams line rebalanced in 7.2, which is update 7.2 that has just come in. Win rate went from 47 to 48. Wow, fantastic. May need additional balancing. Yeah, you're telling me. The T95 FE4201 Ernop ended Tuesday with 31,900 players completing the challenge. That is crazy. Absolutely unbelievable. We then had the Yahtzee Ernop ended Tuesday, so in a 1 week, 27,000 players completed it and got the challenge, which tells you about somewhat how many people play this game in a weekly basis. It was pretty nice to see that these amount of players are still playing the game. Definitely good. Talked about, so this is kind of the subjective kind of area of the video where we're going to be talking about the things that are coming into the game. And trust me, there is a big thing coming into the game. They've talked about a new tank line exclusive to console will arrive. So week of 12th of October, this is when that will happen. So that is not this week coming, but the following week after. You'll essentially be able to get a whole new tank line. Now, whether that is the French wheeled vehicles, well, no, because that's not an exclusive. Is it the double barreled tanks? No, because that's not an exclusive. Is it the multi-turreted tanks? Well, Wargaming have talked about the multi-turreted tanks, as you can see down here. Can support was talked about, so yes, they could potentially be coming into the game. But I think more likely it's going to be another Cold War tank line, as with the new Cold War Premium with the MBT-70. I think that's probably where it's going to go. I very much doubt that it will be a World War II tank line. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Is it going to be the Cold War, or is it going to be the World War II? Leave your comments in the comment section down below, and that'll be interesting to see what you guys are speculating about for this update on the 12th of October. Testing has begun on the Armadillo to look at rebalancing its accuracy and its damage potential, so this is fantastic. Although I don't feel like nerfing the gun is the real problem with it. It's the speed and the ability that it doesn't get spotted that make it super overpowered. Yes, meaning that it becomes potentially pretty useless by nerfing the accuracy and damage. Well, that just doesn't really solve it, because it's not the fact that they hit really hard, it's just the fact that they are so pestilent and they just come around and just YOLO and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know how that will go, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. There are some issues with the light tanks in Cold War Era 2, like we've talked about, and so they're still aware of those, and they'll be looking at nerfing some of those, I expect. Whether or not things like the Cobra Hiss will get nerfed, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. Green Thumb is close to being fixed. Thick? I don't know what I was going on about there. High chance that the fix arrives on Tuesday, so essentially the Green Thumb perk wasn't working properly, now it will be. Armor Viewer was talked about, so Paingod provided an update on this feature. I'm hoping that this will actually come with a feature of being a live model, so you'll be able to see the armor model as you move it within the game. Artillery rebalances is still in high level discussion, so there's no work actually being done. Essentially what I do is maybe make it so that artillery has to be closer to the opponents, or just make it so that you have to move more. I don't know. I think that is kind of difficult with the artillery. I definitely think either nerfing the ability to one-shot tanks, because I just don't think that that's particularly very fair. I think as long as the one-shot mechanic is out of the game, whether that means, you leave someone on 200 health, that's absolutely fine, because at least their game isn't completely ruined. Yes, you can still one-shot people, or not one-shot them, but remove the rest of their hit points if they've taken a hit, but it just means that, for those players that maybe didn't do anything at all wrong and got luckily shotted by an artillery, then, you don't have that horrific experience, which, trust me, it is literally game uninstalling worthy when you're going for things like Marks of Excellence, or you're trying to carry a game and the artillery just derps you for every single hit point of your vehicle. It really is annoying. It's not something I find particularly very nice. Very, very hard to balance it though, and so, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Mercenary contracts. Mercenary contracts, right. Wargaming have been talking about mercenary contracts for literally just under a year now. They've apparently been on the way, coming soon, but it's been over a year. They've not been coming soon. Hopefully we'll return by the end of the year. There'll be an update next week as to whether or not they will come back to the game, but I wouldn't get your hopes up too much, because it is Wargaming here, and especially on console, we don't really have the fastest development team, considering, the size of the game and stuff like that. So expect it probably January, February, to be honest with you, but hopefully just it will return by the end of the year, and so give another aspect of the game to grind towards when you're a little bit bored of the season pass or you've completed it. Next major update will be in early December, so for those of you interested in the next big update, it is early December. I expect that will come with the new Cold War tank line, the medium tanks I think it is. Then we've got things like probably getting some new maps that will come with that, probably 4 of the revamped maps again, and then there will be some extra stuff I don't know exactly. Of course, we've just got to wait, and if you want to keep up to date with that update news, then of course just subscribe to the channel and I'll try and do that for you guys as soon as it comes out. They'll also be chasing up the AI A-up even inscriptions next week to see if they're fixed. Regarding tier 10 coins from years back, the team is working on mailing them as soon as possible. Multi-turreted / multi-gun support was talked about, so tanks that have multi-turrets will be able to use them, things like the T-28. Don't know how that will work, whether they'll have machine guns which can deal damage to tanks, maybe dealing 20 damage per shot, but I don't know how that will work, but I just don't hope I hope it's not like the War Thunder variant where you can use the machine gun to take out opponents' tanks. It'll be kind of annoying because not every tank has one, and therefore it kind of leads this balance issue that you'll probably get. I'm not entirely sure how that will work, and it definitely needs to be thought out a little bit more. Dark looking tanks are coming for Black Friday. Whoop-de-doo, a black tank, which is essentially just a tank that is previously in the game. They just make it black and then give it an extra silver potential earn than it usually has. So for example, a normal premium tank typically has 150% silver, so when you join in a game you essentially get 50% more silver than if you were to play a tech tree tank. The Black Friday tanks usually have like 65%, so instead of the standard one, so things like the STA2, if you play the premium version, it probably has 50% earn silver, and then when you play the black version, you get like 65% earn. Don't know if there'll be any earn ops to be able to get a black tank. They did do that last year, so I think I picked the STA2, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, what tanks they actually bring as black tanks. And obviously they're quite a fan favourite. There's also the commander customization update was provided, so I'm assuming that we'll be able to actually see soon that you can update the voice of your commander in-game and have a look at that sort of stuff. Zoom in / zoom out tech tree UI improvement was proposed, so that is definitely something I want to be able to see, where you can go fully out, look at what tanks are on the tech tree, and then if you want to zoom in on a specific area of the tech tree, you can do that. Maybe putting it as a cursor rather than like you having to click through all of the time to be able to get to the area that you're looking for. Maybe that would be better, but of course leave your comments as to that in the comment section down below, because Wargaming do read the comment section to see what your guys' opinions are. How well they do that, I don't know, but yeah, they definitely hop over to some of the videos every now and again and have a look through, but yeah, let me know what you think of that. There's also lots of ops coming for Halloween, especially including Monster Hunter, so you'll be able to earn a Halloween tank. That comes every year. Usually it's things like the Lycan, I don't know what else, there's the Kaiju, so the tier 6 OI essentially. You've got loads of different tanks that you can pick up that are the monster ones, the Wraith, you've got the Panzer 58 Mutz, which is the Wraith, I think it is. You've got loads of tanks, trust me. Definitely one for those of you to pick up some free tanks, and yeah, it's a pretty good update as well. Clan features leaderboard was discussed, mainly recapping what was said last week. So essentially they are looking at putting in a leaderboard, and the 4th marks of excellence, the first to achieve it on both EU and NA, were Cryptic CL and I Garfield in NA, so congratulations. Here are the images, so I essentially think it'll be the MBT, yes it is. These are the different skins, and the actual tank itself is basically an M1 Abrams, but with this big chode of a gun. Looks interesting. Don't know what I think, but yeah, let me know your opinions on these new tanks coming into the game and what you think about the future of World of Tanks console, because obviously we've done a lot of discussion videos on World of Tanks, at least recently, so let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to check out what actually arrived with this update, then check out this video on screen, and if you want to get better at World of Tanks, or at least learn some new things maybe, then you can have a look at the playlist on how to get better at World of Tanks. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Your viewership is more than welcome, and I hope to see you in one of those videos or the next one. Goodbye.